It actually looked like maybe two people had carried her, maybe lifted her out of a trunk, lifted her from the bed of a pickup truck or something, and one had carried her from underneath her armpits and one had carried her from underneath her legs and placed her there. So it was just an overall impression that we may be dealing with two people.
They started in the quiet foothills just north of Los Angeles on Halloween morning, 1977. A resident stepping into his front yard was met with a sight that would haunt him forever. A naked woman, lifeless, sprawled in plain view. Horrified, he covered her with a tarp, shielding his children from the scene. But there was no mistake here. This was murder. Detective Frank Cerno, one of the first officers on the scene, recognized the signs immediately. Ligature marks around her neck, wrists, and ankles told a story of strangulation. She had been raped. There was no indication of who she was or where she had come from. The only clue, a small piece of white fiber on her eyelid. It was nothing much, but it was all they had. As Cerno examined the body, he noticed something crucial. The way she was placed suggested she hadn't been dumped carelessly. Two people might have carried her, perhaps from the trunk of a car or the bed of a truck, one lifting under her armpits, the other under her legs. The precision, the care, hinted at a level of collaboration that would define the killings to come. Less than a week later, the pattern became horrifyingly clear. Another woman was found, naked and strangled, beside a jogging path. Both victims had been raped, strangled, and left in plain sight. The marks on their wrists, ankles, and throats were eerily similar, suggesting the same killer or killers were at work.
The same ligature mark. So at that point we knew that we had a single killer or killers that were at least responsible for two murders.
The press would later dub them the Hillside Strangler, unaware that authorities were dealing with two men, not one. By November, the city's fear had escalated. On November 20th, a 9-year-old boy noticed what he thought were mannequins. They were not. The bodies of Dolores Sipa and Sonia Johnson, both under 15, had been missing for over a week. A witness had seen them talking to a man in a large sedan, possibly masquerading as a police officer. The city's tension and the urgency within the police force became palpable. Officers worked 12 to 15-hour days, 7 days a week, chasing leads with little to go on. The killings showed no regard for holidays. On November 28th, Lauren Wagner disappeared from her home, her car still parked outside. Neighbors recalled seeing two men argue with her before she was forced into a car. Small fibers found on her body hinted at yet another scene of abduction and murder.
We were spending 7 days a week, 12, 15 hours a day working. That didn't slow down ever.
Confirming suspicions of a duo posing as police. Weeks later, an 18-year-old prostitute was found dead on a hillside, dumped as if to taunt the authorities. Fingerprints and evidence were scant, leaving detectives frustrated. And then suddenly the killing stopped. A chilling calm fell over Los Angeles, leaving the city to wonder when the Hillside Stranglers would strike again. Meanwhile, across the country in Bellingham, Washington, a new horror was unfolding. In January 1979, Diane Wilder and Karen Mandick went missing while house-sitting. Their abandoned apartment revealed groceries left unrefrigerated.
And it was evident as soon as we got there that something was terribly wrong in the sense that they had left Diane Wilder's car there with some groceries in it, some of which needed to be refrigerated. The cat had not been fed or let out, and the lights were on.
Lights on, and a sense of danger. A business card for a security guard named Kenneth Bianca and a note in Diane's handwriting suggested a lead. Bianca denied involvement, claiming he was at a law enforcement class that night. But when their bodies were discovered in a car near a deserted construction site, strangled and left carefully, investigators began to suspect a methodical killer. Evidence in the car hinted at previous experience. Foreign hairs and gold carpet fibers suggested a connection to a specific location.
This was, in our opinion, definitely not a first-time killer. This is somebody who had been there before. Tracing
the fibers to a house monitored by Bianca's security company confirmed suspicions. A search of Bienka's residence revealed stolen goods, enough to justify his arrest while investigators gathered evidence linking him to the murders. Hair samples from the victims matched strands found in Bienka's home and car, tying him unmistakably to the crime. A California driver's license found in his possession confirmed a connection to 3 Hillside Strangler victims. Bienka confessed to the murders in Washington and California, naming his cousin, Angelo Bono, as his accomplice. Together, they had preyed on women in Los Angeles, posing as police officers, abducting victims, raping, strangling, and disposing of their bodies under cover of darkness. Both cousins would serve multiple life sentences without parole. The terror of serial killers, however, was not confined to cities. In Northern California state parks, a new killer lurked. October 1980 brought the first grim discovery.
Not only did he live next door and across the street from 2 of our victims, but he had lived on Tamarind, which was the Kimberly Martin case. So right away, we've got a guy that's connected by location to 3 of the victims, and we never had that before.
And Alderson, a 26-year-old woman, was found shot in the head, raped, and left in a serene park near San Francisco Bay. Traces of biological material and bullets were all detectives had to work with. Forensic specialists determined the weapon was a .38 special revolver, but no suspect emerged. Weeks later, more bodies were found at Point Reyes National Seashore. A man and a woman shot to death. 2 women, naked, raped, executed. 5 murders, and bullets were the only tangible evidence linking the crimes. The media named him the Trailsides Killer, a methodical predator striking in the tranquility of the parks. Investigators assembled eyewitness accounts and composite sketches, building a profile. A white male, 20 to 25, tall and thin, charming and outgoing. Flyers warned the public, undercover agents patrolled the trails, and the FBI assisted. Code 555 was devised. Shut down county exits the moment an attack was reported. But the killer was always one step ahead, and the next assault struck outside jurisdiction in Santa Cruz County. Surviving victim Stephen Hartle identified a shooter who did not match the original sketch. An older, broader man with thinning hair. Authorities realized a composite had misled them. The Trailsides Killer was a man in his 50s. Attention shifted to David Carpenter. When Heather Skaggs disappeared after visiting Carpenter to see a car, investigators noticed his resemblance to the revised sketch. Surveillance revealed a prior conviction for rape and assault, and evidence tied him to the murders. Heather's body was discovered days later, and forensic analysis of a .38 caliber bullet confirmed it was the murder weapon. Blood and saliva matched evidence from previous victims. Carpenter's meticulous methods, observing hikers from vantage points, ambushing targets, executing victims in the back of the head, made him one of the most cunning killers investigators had faced. He was convicted of 7 first-degree murders and 3 counts of rape, sentenced to death. The relentless nature of serial killers was also evident in the Midwest. In 1983, a young man was found stabbed and bound off Interstate 294 near Chicago. Weeks later, another body appeared, similarly murdered. For months later, Ralph Kiss met the same fate along the same highway. Authorities dubbed him the Interstate Killer, a predator traveling state lines. Footprints and tire tracks offered the first clues. Larry Ear, previously acquitted for a similar crime, became the prime suspect. A state trooper's routine check led to Ear's arrest. Boots, a knife, and rope were seized, matching tracks and prints at the scene. But a legal misstep led to the evidence being thrown out, and Ear was released. Authorities knew surveillance alone could not prevent the inevitable. In August 1984, janitor Danny Bridges' dismembered body was found in a Chicago dumpster near Ear's apartment. Forensic processing revealed fingerprints inside the plastic bag's ears. The evidence was undeniable. Examination of his apartment uncovered blood traces, luminol revealing the extent of his crime. Genetic marker testing matched the blood to Danny Bridges, allowing authorities to build a foolproof case. Ear confessed to 22 murders over 4 years and was sentenced to death. These cases, stretching from California to Illinois, reveal a terrifying truth. Serial killers do not follow boundaries. They strike methodically, taking advantage of the smallest mistakes. Yet, investigators are equally relentless, piecing together minuscule clues, fibers, hairs, fingerprints, or bullet markings, to catch them. From the hillside stranglers posing as police, to Carpenter's Park ambushes, to Ear's interstate killings, the killers were driven by compulsion, unable to stop on their own. And for the authorities chasing them, patience, meticulous attention, and a relentless pursuit of tiny details were the only weapons capable of stopping the body count from rising further. Some get away with murder, but the trail they leave behind eventually tells the story. Evidence, no matter how small, can unravel the deadliest of mysteries. And though many victims were gone before justice came, the unyielding work of investigators ensured that, eventually, killers would be caught. Still, even with justice served, the horror lingers, a reminder that evil can hide anywhere, waiting for the right moment to strike again.